welcome back. Did you get a biscuit, maybe a coffee? I bet you could use some coffee. Put some sugar on it, because right now we've got a sweet matchup coming up.
This is going to be massive. Immortals have waited all year long to come back to get into this very first game of 2v2, and right now you see the Ram Rider Mega Knight deck coming out for Immortals, going up against a Ram Rider Mega Knight deck from PONOS.
Immortals couldn't wait so much that they started the game a minute before we get back.
They always do that.
They're
to us,
always
Rich. We've
doing
asked
that.
them so many times not to, but they just don't care.
So P.E.K.K.A. Ram Rider, all over the place. Of course, we've only seen the MK so far for Tenga Mikambuya, though you have to assume a P.E.K.K.A. might be coming out, although with Lumberjack, that seems more or less and less likely as we're going on. P.E.K.K.A. Ram Rider had a lot of plays in CRL West this season, although did not have much success either in 2v2 or head-to-head play.
Yeah, now we see, right, the Mega Knight coming down on top of the Ram Rider, making so no connection is to be had, and a big counter push coming down for Tenga and Mikambuya.
Heading in a double elixir time, and so far, as you can see, things pretty much all square. Mega Knight for Mega Knight. How does he tie his shoes with those things in his hands?
I've always wondered that. It's one of the things I've wondered most about this game.
Oh, and that giant snowball might end up helping. Changing the position on that Ram Rider. She will get a connection.
A big, big time help there from Tenga and Mikambuya for Immortals, just kind of messing up the interaction they thought they had under control, allowing that Ram Rider to come through.
Minor low cleaned up in the end by the Baby Dragon Dark Prince combination.
You might even say that that Lumberjack was beyond the game, Rich.
You know, Andrew, if there's one thing I want is that song. Here we go, Mega Knight coming down.
Mega Knight running right into Big Mama P.E.K.K.A. A great counter.
Double E-Wiz backing up a Ram Rider. P.E.K.K.A. Lightning comes in, gets quite a lot of value. That E-Wiz will get a big shot and a retarget there on to the Miner.
The Skelly's coming down, doing great work for PONOS, but that E-Wiz resetting on the Miner gave a lot of damage for Immortals. They're now ahead by about 800.
And Ram Rider gets a big connection. That was critical for Tenga and Mikambuya.
A lot on the board here for Immortals. Should be seeing a Miner coming in relatively soon, and that most likely should do it.
Not quite tower down. Yeah, hanging on by the skin of their teeth there, Andrew, is Tenga and Mikambuya. It feels like a done deal, but this is Clash Royale. Don't count anyone out till the final tower falls.
Yeah, we just need 2 spells from Immortals, being smart, playing that P.E.K.K.A., using the elixir to ensure that they will stay in the game to close it out right now.
Miner to the inside. Goblin Brawler gets on there. Mega Knight in support. Poison down, and now it's just elementary. Log comes in. Tower down. Immortals takes game number 1 of 2v2.
A huge, huge win for Immortals. You know how bad they wanted that, and now finally taking a game away from PONOS in that 2v2 set.
AC and RF, we talked about them a lot, of course. We spent a lot of time with them, both in Japan, here, back in the West, and we know how much this particular matchup means to them. And once they get in the flow, it's a very dangerous combination, those two guys.
You know, and that was one of the things that we really applauded about RF and Ocrap was after last season's World Finals, where they honestly got stomped. They really, truly did. They weren't upset about it. They just went back to the drawing board. They went back to practice. They hit it twice as hard, and all season long it's been a bit hit and miss for them at CRL West, but here they are once again taking down one of the best duos in the world.
You know, Andrew, they talked a lot during their losses in that mid part of the CRL West season about learning from them. When you saw them in the hallway after a loss, it was never, hand in their heads.
Right.
Heads in their hands.
Hands in their heads.
Yeah, the head just right, dude, their ears are so big, it just gets right in there. They were never head in their hands. They were never depressed. They were always like, hey, man, we learned a lot. We know something different now. And it was always with the idea of, we know we're going to get to China. We know that we're going to do well between this split and the next split. So let's just take the lessons and not let ourselves start to get into a tilt.
And we've talked about him a lot this season. You have to credit trainer Luis for keeping his his team's spirits up. Even today, with the massive delays and the Immortals being at the very end of the day for CRI, they still were ready to go. And that's because of a great coach.
Well, if you go back to the CROS playoffs, Andrew, there was a moment Royal was on the tower, and Trainer Luis came up and spoke to him in between games.
Yeah.
And we saw Royal crack a big smile.
Yes.
Which we see it a lot off camera, on stage, does not smile quite as much.
Right.
But we saw that in that moment, and that's one of those things where you go, okay, Luis said something to get Royal out of wherever he was and into the moment, into the game. And that's what a great coach and a great manager can do. And this is actually a squad, talking about all 3 CROS squads. We don't know the coaches for the other teams as well, of course.
Of course.
But we have 3 coaches that are excellent matches for their teams.
Yes.
Trainer Luis with Immortals, personality matches perfectly. KV with SK, both from last season and this season, brilliant.
Yeah.
And then, we've said it a lot, Eric Benamou matched up with this Team Liquid squad. Couldn't have a better pairing.
No, I could not agree with you more. Excellent coaching leads to excellent gameplay. And now we have, in Mikan Booya and TedGod, Mikan may not be their coach, but he is the heart and soul of their team, which is one of the reasons why you see him hopping around in sets so much. He hasn't had a lot of success in the 1v1 set this season, but 2v2 he's had a bit more.
Yeah, 2v2 went 11-9 in games. TedGod also 11-9, as that was their pair. And here we go, 3 Musketeers in 2v2. And Andrew, you and I talked about this.
Yes, you did!
The Fireball ban, whether or not they'd be going for a Piggies, ceiling fan, Fireball bait deck, and here it comes out for RF and Ockrap.
I've got the text to prove it. We saw the Fireball ban. Rich goes Piggy ceiling fan, and you called it, my friend.
I just wish I'd said it on stream, Andrew.
Yeah, well, we can't do everything, right?
We can look darn good doing it, though.
We can't.
Graveyard comes down, TedGod and Mikan Booya. We have seen this double Graveyard combination over and over throughout the season. The question is, how will TedGod and Mikan Booya play this once we get into double Elixir?
Oh, and that Brawler running back towards the tower gets cleanup on those skeletons. Now, this is the question we have is, do TedGod and Mikan Booya have the freeze? Most likely, yes.
It certainly does feel that way. Crap and the God RF have a lot of ability to split pressure, although there is a ton of splash damage on the side of their opponents.
Yeah.
We have not seen a building yet, though, which could create some challenges. Oh,
yes,
Goblin Cage. Sorry.
Yes.
We have seen the building. You see his face, you forget he's a building.
Yeah, double building here to help deal with these pushes on the front end, and then Poison, of course, to deal with the Graveyard on the back end. The real question is, though, is can they keep the Poison in cycle to deal with the Graveyard cycle that is going to be just non-stop relentless from TedGod and Mikan.
And good job so far for AC and RF, picking up that Baby Dragon in both directions, the Lumberjack and then the Dark Prince. We are 20 seconds into double Elixir time, and right now, Japanese team looks in the position to get one back in Game 2.
Yeah, what it really feels like is that RF and Ockrap need to change lanes, Rich. They keep pushing into this tower because it's slower, but however, they're allowing big counter pushes to come down across that river, and of course, tank for the Graveyard.
High Goblin Cage, second cage out here for RF and AC, and now a big Graveyard Poison push from the Japanese players.
Right now, Ockrap and RF on their heels, not having a lot of responses, and once again going right into the Shark's mouth. You cannot keep doing that, boys.
Log comes, pushes back, resets. A freeze takes care of the flying machine. Brilliant freeze here by the Japanese squad, and that's going to be it. Game number 2 is going to go the way of TedGod and Mikan Booya.
The 16th card played by the PONOS team. 1 minute into overtime. That is exactly what you want to do with your freeze. Now, we're sure that AC and RF knew it was coming. They just didn't know when, and that was the perfect timing from PONOS.
Not just perfect timing, but perfect placement. That was the important unit to take care of, that flying machine. And you saw that wobbly giant skeleton just tottering all the way to the tower. And then kaboom, there you go. So now we're all evened up in this 2v2 set.
One of those things about the giant skeleton, you think you can kind of ignore it for a while, come pick it up a little bit later. It's so slow But if you ask our good friend Javi Catorce, one of the best in the world, that giant skeleton moves faster than you think it's going to.
Yeah, he can escape, and we saw that happen there. So now with things all tied up, this is a big moment here for Immortals. This is a win that means a lot, both for the overall game record of the Western region at this moment, but also for Immortals going into that third and final set. A win here is necessary just for them to feel confident going into that one.
Well, and you have to remember, this is not by sets. It's not who wins a set. It's not 2-1. It's all about the points and who takes the game. So with a 3-0 sweep in set number 1 and already down a game here, tied here in set number 2, that's a lot of pressure to put on your third player or your third set player.
Yeah, there's quite a lot. And then a question, of course, is will Royal come back out or will it be Lapacati? But at the moment, it's right in front of AC and RF. And it really felt like we were talking about. They were just pounding that exact same lane. They were really letting Mikan Booyah and Ten God dictate the terms of that game.
Yes, and that's one of the things. Obviously, when you're in game, it's hard to make those head-up adjustments, and you don't want to even split your Royal Hogs in that sense because you can kind of ignore just 2 Royal Hogs if you are PONOS Esports. They needed to completely switch lanes, but you understand it's hard to do that when your opponent is relentlessly dropping graveyards.
Well, the question becomes, do you throw a set of piggies on the left-hand side?
Just to see what happens.
Just to see what happens? Well, let's see what happens in game number 3, brought to you by the Galaxy S10.
I love that phone.
I don't have that one.
I know. I'm the only. I love that there's chargers around here for my phone. That never happens.
Well, thank you, Samsung. Yeah, no. I have that other one.
Yeah, the other one.
So lava for lava. Lava Hound so prevalent in 2v2 in CRL West. Something we didn't see a lot in CRL NA and EU last season because a lot of bans, Lava was pretty consistently banned.
Yeah, and you see right now, with NATO being banned, the comfortable miner behind the tower from Immortals, PONOS coming out on top in that first exchange.
Now, I will say this, Andrew thought that with the Fireball ban, we might be seeing some lava as well.
Yes.
So kudos to my co-caster here.
I love it.
First minute down and 2 lavas heading slowly towards the bridge to say hello and then move on by.
4 baby dragons on the field, or in the hands, I should say, of these players, going to help deal with these Lava Hound pushes quite a bit. And also a high Inferno Tower, something we saw a lot throughout the season.
Lumberjack nearly gets the tower, but does enough to rage up that Lava Hound just a bit of damage here for Immortals.
Yeah, this should be easily cleaned up by just 1 unit. You see Immortals does drop the baby dragon to deal with it. Coming out on top now, 200 HP lead.
Baby dragon barely turned by the, that's a brilliant Ice Spirit play by Ten God.
Yeah, you talk about those 1 elixir cards and how much they can kind of catch you back up in the game elixir-wise, and that was the perfect use of an Ice Spirit, maybe the best use of an Ice Spirit we've seen today.
That might have been Mikan Booyah's Ice Spirit, but I'll stick with Ten God for the moment. And here we go, Balloon behind. We don't see a ton of Balloon in 2v2. This is a wrinkle.
I was just going to say, Lava Balloon not as popular in 2v2. We saw it a couple times in 1v1. Usually just so many options on the field, but right now, so much on that tower. Balloon does connect. That is going to be towered down.
That was massive with 35 seconds left. Does not appear with the speed of this deck that RF and AC can get back in it. And that raises a big question here. NATO was banned. We didn't see Balloon in CRL West at all because of no bans, because you knew there would always be a NATO, and you gotta wonder if that factored into the moment that we just saw.
I could not agree with you more, and now Immortal's trying to go opposite lane, but as you said, the Lava Hound is slow, and the Lava Hound pushes also must be orchestrated with other cards to support. You can't just send in the Lava Hound and hope it takes out a tower, so Mikan Booyah and Ten God kind of giving Immortals a bit of a taste of last season.
Very, very big win, and the Japanese squad now up 5 games to 1 overall.
Very, very surprising there, and that is huge. That affects all the teams, 5-1. So now we need to see a 3-game sweep if you are supporting the CRL West team, just to kind of even up what we have in kind of a dominant showing from PONOS.
Not saying we're biased, not saying that you're biased, but if you want to see a good match, you want to see what Immortals are bringing out in this last game.
Yes, 100%. Hopefully we'll see Lapacati come out and get his feet wet here at WCG, but we may see Royal again.
It's very, very possible. I mean, one of the things that was rough for Royal this season was with 1v1 being the third set, it created a lower number of reps for Royal. So that was a big, big shift. And Royal's a player who the more he's playing, the better he is. So it's a question of whether we'll see him get mixed in again, or do you bring out Lapo?
Guess we'll find out here. Set number 3 coming your way.